All right. Do you want to take it off?
No, go ahead.
No, it's all you. You said you're gonna take it off.
He swears. But I thought you said you want to start this off with a thumb war.
Yeah.
By the way, I win every single thumb war we do.
It's because you got long hands.
Okay, but like I'm just doing. God gave me these. Like whatever. All right.
That's Gucci.
1 out of 1.
2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war.
5, 6, 7, 8. Try to keep the thumbs right.
So yeah, see now you trying to prepare it now. See that ain't. She done got the almonds, the almond nail shape. See, no. See, she gone
My
to the
thumb
gym.
is straight. I'm not even watching.
I'm
not even watching.
I don't know.
I just got it. Sorry.
I gotta ask Mama Trotter what she put in your milk because you got some strong hands. That baby formula was strong.
All right, well, obviously we're not jumping on here talking about thumb wars, but we want to start this out a little differently. But tonight, you guys, it's super just humbling to actually come to you with this. Ever since we started doing, it started off as Mondays with Molly, then I brought Johnny on. And I swear people wanted to see Johnny and hear Johnny more than they wanted to hear me, which is totally fine. But one of our things that we really love to be able to give back to people is just talking about relationships, because everything hinges on that. Everything, your work life, your personal life, everything starts with that, and how well they're doing, or maybe not so good, like if they're not doing very well at the moment. And, recently I had somebody reach out to me, and, she has been dating her... well, now ex, but we'll get into that. She was dating somebody for, I think it was a little over a year. They just celebrated a year. And just all of a sudden one day, he kind of freaked out. It was just like, you know what, like this isn't going to work out. And they were both upset. They were both crying. They were both really like distraught. And when I went to Johnny, I was like, Johnny, you'll never believe the conversation I just had. Some of you might be able to relate to that. Maybe you've been with somebody and then all of a sudden it's just kind of like, boop. It's done. You're like, I don't really understand why. Maybe the other person doesn't either. And it's really painful. So this person reached out and was just asking, like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And it hurts, it hurts to go from day to day. So I'm just opening this up here because when I brought this to Johnny, he really was like, let me take this one. And he's just been really just marinating on just what kind of value do I want to give, because it's not a foreign situation to you, neither me. And probably a lot of you here. So when you've gone through something like that, drop in the comments how that made you feel, how you were able to cope with it. But babe, I'm gonna let you take it away because you have some great insight, and I'll just kind of ping pong off what you do. But
yeah, it's interesting to know that when you're in a relationship, I'm sure a lot of people here watching this, you may not be foreign to the idea of somebody treating you like an option. And so, for me at least, a lot of people have made me feel very less about myself, and a lot of people have the capacity to do that over your life whenever they, feel like, whenever they that life is getting to them, and there's like a lot going on, but they have this thing where it's just like, when I need to go handle all those things, and then I'm gonna come to you later. And so it's just like a lot of people don't know how to balance things out.
Prioritize.
And so that was part of the conversation, is that he was going through very intensive schooling. He had things going on the side. And it's just like, yo, I don't even know if I want you anymore. There's so many things going on. And it's just like, for somebody to do that, what kind of the subtitle about this message is actually, making critical decisions, not being caught in somebody's emotional or mental indecisiveness. Now, that's powerful, because I don't know about you, but it's a special kind of hell to be in whenever you're in somebody's emotional and mental indecisiveness. Do I want you? I don't know. I kind of feel like being single today. I don't know if I'm liking you right now. I actually have my eye on somebody else. I'm actually really busy right now. You're kind of coming off as an inconvenience because you're kind of being needy right now. So, what does it look like to have the self-respect for demanding somebody to treat you like a priority and not an option? Because really, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to put up with? Because really, truly, I'm gonna say this, is that there's a lot of people right now that need to break up. And I'm gonna just lay it out on the table. I'm gonna just lay it out on the table. Praise God, because there's so many people right now that are caught up in relationships that are just like, I've been with you for 5 years. Who else am I gonna rock with?
Don't look at me with that
You know,
straight face. That
it's
hurt.
just like,
that
you
hurt,
know,
and that wasn't even directed at
It's
me.
just like, there's a lot of people out there. There's just like, well, what else am I going to do? Who else am I going to rock with? Who's going to understand me the way that person understands me? But what happens is that becomes a law of familiarity, and that's a very real thing. Check it out if you can. Law of familiarity. Promise you, it will probably be very helpful to you because you do not want to be there. You do not want to be there because it's comfortable. People get sedentary. It's just like, I already know you. There's no spark. So it's just a matter of how are you gonna demand somebody to treat you like an option or like a priority? Because at the end of the day, like I said, there's a lot of people out there that need to part ways with somebody because they make them feel as if it's something that they can get to. Now, there's a difference between somebody looking at you like a priority and somebody looking at you almost like a chore. It's like, I'm gonna go ahead and do that when I need to, and there's a checklist to, I'm gonna kiss Molly today. I'm gonna check that off my list. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe go on a date with her because she's the one that feels like it, not me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, check that off my list. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know the difference between that and actually dating, being romanced, being pursued. And so
I got something to add to that while you're thinking on your next thing. The thing that I have learned with Johnny more than I've learned with anybody else is a lot of men, I'm gonna call you out here because now I've experienced it. Men, I'm gonna call you out. A lot of men are scared. You're okay. A lot of men are scared. You guys are scared because you don't want to emotionally open yourself up to have the wrong female come in and then devastate you down to the ground. Because those are some conversations that we've had, where it's like, I've been hurt, I've been cheated on, I've had a lot of horrible things done to me in relationships that we don't need to discuss, but I've been through all of that and I've come out alive still. And I've even having these talks with him where I'm just like, look, you're not going to die even if X happens, but a lot of guys don't even want to put themselves in the shoes of like even thinking about being hurt because they don't know how to recover. And the only reason you guys don't know how to recover or know how to deal with that is because, number, you don't put yourself out there. And number two, who are you going to talk to about it? Because your boys want to talk about going partying, doing this and that, this girl, that girl, whatever, being so emotionally unavailable that you don't have somebody to really pour into you or you pour into them. And that's so sad. It's so sad. And, women too. Women, the only reason Johnny's been able to really open up and feel comfortable around me is because I've given him that space. I'm not perfect about it, but you give them that space to feel confident to share their vulnerabilities, their insecurities, and open up. And chances are, if you're in one of those sedentary relationships where you've been together for a year, 3, 5, 10, and it's just really been the same the whole time. And like Johnny said, there's probably a lot of you guys watching this that should break up because there's just no growth there. It's just that you're watering a dead plant, and that dead plant just happens to be a fake one you bought from the store, so it's never going to grow, and it's not even alive to begin with. I know that's kind of hard to hear. But at the end of the day, people are just so scared of being hurt. And guess what? There's something, I'm going to pass it back to you, that I heard at church on Sunday, where it's like, when kids grow up, and their parents give them everything, absolutely everything. They give them the car. They get a brand new car for their birthday, the money that they want, the clothes that they want. They give them everything, whether they can afford it or not. They get it. But when they grow up, they resent their parents being like, they just resent them. Why? Because their parents did everything for them, trying to make sure that they had a better life than what, they had as a child. Their kids had a better life. But the kids resent them. Because here's the thing, parents or people in relationships or whatever, I'm not a parent yet, so I can't speak for myself, but it made so much sense to me where when you enable somebody so hard and you don't allow people to learn the hard way, they're not going to become the person they're truly meant to be because you're not allowing them to grow through that pain. Pain is meant to be grown through. And for me, I know I'd be a wildly different person if I didn't grow through the pain, a lot of the pain that I've been through, in just the relationship factor. That has molded me big time. And for you guys watching this, it's likely molded you too. And we'd love to hear in the comments just how good and bad relationships have molded you for the better. But yes, put it in the comments. We want to talk with you, not just at you. But that was such a boom for me, where it's you got to let people go through the pain. You got to cut it off. You got to let people know, no, I want more. I deserve more. I am worth it. So that was a point that really came up that I wanted to know.
That's crazy. So there's two different things. Is that there's certain keywords like deserve, worth, loyalty. Now, I'm going to touch up on loyalty because some of you guys out there, y'all swear y'all in a relationship because you're loyal, but it's a misguided sense of loyalty. I don't know where your background is, but and me being a Mexican, there are sometimes different skewed definitions as to what loyalty actually looks like. And like if you speak out and speak your opinion and be vocal and honest and things like that, even if it's to the other person's kind of offense, it's just like, well, you're not loyal, you fake, get out of my face. It's just like, there's just misguided sense of loyalty. We need to fix that. And so I read something right now. It says, staying in a situation when you're unappreciated isn't called loyalty. It's called breaking your own heart.
Oof.
Now,
wait, repeat it one more time.
all right. I wish I could type this in the thing. Staying in a situation where you're unappreciated isn't called loyalty. It's called breaking your own heart. Now, there's again, this ties into the message of being what's it called? He says, I definitely have a roadblock up, scared, yes, but happy being alone, especially when you're being a music artist. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to touch up on that, Sean, because I'm gonna say this is that there's a lot of people out there that don't know what it means to fully be appreciated, and they think being a side project is normal, and they think that it's okay. And even more so, they think it's just what you're supposed to do. Now, I don't know about you, but if Molly had not treated me the same way that I wanted to be treated, we would not be a thing. I could promise you that right now.
And the only reason why I know how he wants to be treated is because he lets me know how he wants to be treated. So you have to communicate that. Otherwise, this whole reading the mind thing
does not work. And not only just communicate, but in a sense, not arrogant, but in a sense, demand it. And just like you have to demand respect, like you don't just, can you put a little bit more respect on my name? Like, can you respect me a little bit more? Like, no, you don't do that. You say, I need you to respect me when you talk to me. I need you to respect me on how you treat me. You know, like somebody doesn't slap you in the face and be like, I don't like how you did that. Could you not do that anymore? That's not a thing. And so what I mean by this is that there are certain things in life and even relationships where you have to demand it. And so, again, going back to the whole relationship with you and I, it's just like there are certain things that I expect, and like you have to. So going back to this whole story, it was like, you know, I have a bunch of things going on at work. I'm in school. I have all these other things. I don't really have time for you right now. And it's important for somebody to acknowledge what it is they actually want, because if they don't, then what's going to happen is heartbreak. You're going to take a cruise down Heartbreak Boulevard, because now you're caught in the crosshairs of somebody's emotional indecisiveness, because one day they want you, the other they don't. And when they do want you, whenever they got like hell breaking loose in their own life, it's because they just don't want to be alone. And so you're now a convenience to their own heart and emotions. And you have to ask yourself right now if you're okay with being a little Band-Aid to somebody else's emotions. Because if you are, then stick around. They'll treat you like a Band-Aid. They'll take you out and put you on whenever they want and take you back off when they don't want you.
Dude, they got a whole box of those.
They got a whole box of those. Don't be in that box.
Come in a one pack.
Don't be in that box.
But I want to tap off that for a second, because in this story that we're talking about, you know, bless this woman's heart. You know, she's going through a lot, and the man she was with, she really loves him, and she wants to be there. She wants to, whenever you need me, you know, I'm here. I got you, because she knows that it's just he's kind of running scared at the moment. And I mean, a lot of people run scared because they're scared of being hurt. But one thing that she mentioned to me when we were on this call that she brought up was the fact that I think some of the family members or cousins or something like that was like, hey, you know, you guys have been together for a year, so what's next? You gonna marry her, this and that? Well, some people take a lot longer to make that decision. Some people know, like, okay, boom, like, I know I've dated enough people, or you're on, like, boom, boom, check, you're on my checklist, whatever. Other people freak out. And let me know how you relate to this. Because when it comes to freaking out about marriage, unfortunately, there's a lot of broken marriages out there.
That's a decision.
Yeah, it's a broken marriage. It is a decision because, you know, for better, for worse, for rich, for poor, to death do us part. Like, a lot of people do not take those words and actually put them in their heart. They say them and it's surface level, but it's not rooted, right? I'm super grateful that my parents, they've been together, I think it's like 33 or 34 years, which is like crazy. I'm just like, bravo, mom and dad. And then, you know, like I met Johnny, and Johnny has a couple different sets of parents, you know, love them all. I do. But at the end of the day, there's just a lot of brokenness, a lot of hardship there. So you never know what somebody's going through, if they have a bad disconnect with marriage, or maybe they just don't believe in it. And unfortunately, a lot of the millennial generation, they want options and they don't really want to get married and just do this whole coach
That's a
thing.
decision too, though.
That's a whole nother topic that we should talk about on like another live. But just down to the point of this gentleman, when he was approached by people that he loved and cared about, it was one of those things where, you know, he's just kind of like, marriage, hold on a second. Johnny's trying to read something right now. He's like, marriage, hold on a second. I'm not sure. Freak out. I got all these other things going on. I got to cut this off so I don't hurt me or this other person, when you're actually hurting them no matter what. And it's just a matter of taking a step back and knowing where you're at, what you're ready for, and just being able to vocalize that. But people are so scared to vocalize things because what if it's not what the other person wants? Or what if you don't even know how to put it into words? You pre-frame it. You're like, I don't really know exactly how it is I want this to come out, but this is what's on my heart, and boom. And it may not come out the best way possible, but you pre-frame it so somebody understands, like, hey, this is like, you're doing your best. You don't have to be the best public speaker. You don't have to be the best communicator. It's just use this and say something so somebody else knows where you're coming from. So I just really fell for this woman that came to me, because she's just like, I don't know what to do. And really, it's like, if somebody doesn't have that maturity, that capacity to reflect on what it is that they want, and you happen to get caught in the crosshairs, that's tough. But I know, like, some stuff that you've brought up is just as a matter of, like, you know, do you wait around for somebody like that? Do you, you know, what do you do in the waiting? Do you move on? Do you build yourself? We've talked about this a few times, and I know it's something you want to touch on.
Well, one of the things that definitely comes to mind, to me at least, one of the things that comes to mind for me is that it's crazy, because in that situation, there was something interesting about, we got done talking about maturity. And making decisions is all about maturity. It's all the quality of the decisions that you make are heavily contingent upon your level of maturity. And so if you want to stay in a committed relationship, then that's based off of your maturity and level of responsibility of honing and taking care of that relationship. That's a choice. And so all I'm trying to say is that if you stick around long enough for somebody to treat you like an option, as if you're always going to stick around in hopes that you're just going to be there, you're forever going to be stuck waiting for them to grow up. And I don't like, believe it, I hope some of you guys aren't, but like, I mean, some of you guys may are, even if you watch this after and like you're watching the live recording, is that if you're in one of those relationships where you're waiting for your mans to grow up, from a male's perspective, I'm just asking you, drop it like a bad habit and wait for him to grow up and wait to see if he's ready to go out later. Because all I'm going to say is that you don't want to be caught in those crosshairs, emotional and mental decisiveness. You want to make sure that somebody wants you right then and there. And if not, gauge the relationship a little bit, at least just by being friends or being acquainted. But don't mix it in, acting as if everything's copacetic and kissing, hugging, touching, and, you know, even making love or something like that. It's just like, no, you guys got to lay the foundation and see where you guys are at mentally and emotionally. Because that's not okay. And so for me, at least, one of the things that comes to mind is that, again, if you're stuck, if you're in a relationship, especially women, because women tend to be natural caretakers, is that if you're in a relationship with somebody who's immature, then chances are you're going to have to be not only their mother, you're going to have to be their counselor. And not saying that these are all like bad things. Everything that I'm about to say right now is not a bad thing. But to a certain extent, it can be bad. You have to do it in proportion. So you're going to be somebody's mother, somebody's counselor, somebody's babysitter. You're going to have to just wait for this person to grow up. And you don't want to do that. You want to go out with somebody who's already grown, who knows already what they want and how they want it, why they want it. And so, this kind of leads me to my next point when I pulled up this quote. It says, there are 3 things in life that never leave and never return: words, time, and opportunity. Therefore, value whoever values you, and don't treat as a priority whoever treats you as an option. And so I hope that spoke to some of you guys, because some of you guys right now need to claim back your respect. Somebody right here needs to claim back their dignity. Somebody right now just needs to really analyze everything that they're going through on a relational level, and seeing what needs to be dropped off, because there's certain things that are literally attached to you, either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or even physically, that you guys need to cut off, because it is quite literally the cancer that is creeping all throughout your being, that is sucking the life out of you. And it's all because of somebody does not want to make a critical decision as to whether or not they want you or stay with you and even rock with you during the hard times. And again, that goes back to the whole thing of, don't let somebody treat you like a convenience. You are not a convenience. You're a queen if you're a lady, and a king if you're a man. You are kings and queens. Don't let nobody treat you anything less. That's crazy. So it's just really focus on what it is that you want, and making sure you go through the process of making sure that they know what they want. Because again, unfortunately, Molly's told me a horrible story about how she was, if it's okay to say, but how somebody asked for your hand in marriage, and then was already doing the bounce, boogie, and bump with somebody else on the side. And so what happened there? He said he wanted her. He even went as far as asking for his parents for permission.
My parents.
Yeah, her parents for permission. Already bought the ring. Are you stupid? It's just like, you've already made a decision. Make it. Follow through with it. Be a man. But that, again, maturity. So you guys as individual beings, as mature beings, have to gauge as to what it is that you guys actually want. Because if not, then I promise you that nothing fruitful will come out of it. Nothing fruitful, I promise you. And so, that's kind of all I got for right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're spot on with all that. So, thank you to everybody who's dropped in the comments, can just pouring into this conversation, because it's something real. And that's what I love about social media, when it's done the right way and you keep it real and you actually have something that's thought-provoking, and it's like, okay, what am I doing? Do I vibe with these people? Do they have what I want? Is it something I need to hear or listen to? Because you didn't just bump on this feed on accident. You came on here, maybe just curious, not knowing, doesn't matter. You're here for a reason. So we keep these relatively, pretty short, under 30, 40 minutes, so you can actually go through and get some value out of this, because of stuff that we've learned, and now people coming to us, asking us, hey, what should I do? And there's a lot of examples, a lot of stories that we can give, and Johnny does Cave Boy. Back in 2000, was it I think 15 or something? 2017, something like that. Anyways, yeah, I was about to be engaged, and then it just, thank God that the person that my ex was doing the bounce, boogie, and bump, or whatever you said, just came out of nowhere and told me. I was like, what? This girl's side chick of the year. So I really hope there's no side chicks or men that are doing all that crap on here. And if you aren't, I hope this convicts you. I hope this grabs your heart, rips it out, and shows you you need to put some life back into that and get the black out. Because that's not okay. That ruins people. And a lot of people can't even come back from that. But for me, the only way I was able to push through was I actually had to evaluate for me, where did I go wrong? What did I do? Not that I deserved that, but it was, who was I as a person? Was I the person that I wanted to be, Because I'll even admit this, you guys, 100%. I actually went back to him and I said, we had this conversation of why'd you do it? I don't know. Were you going to tell me? He said no. And then I was pause for a little bit. I'm well, are we going to make this work? Are you going to take me back? I said those words, are you going to take me back? When that's just, I know, shaking. It's terrible, because I was that low that I just, I was no, I made this decision in my mind, we're already there, my heart, my mind, everything. But if you're going to do that, and then he just bounced out of my life like he did, I was all right, well, that was a, huge Band-Aid ripped off. Or if you can imagine, if you have hairy arms and then you wax all that off at the same time, no, that hurt, it was painful. But I can laugh about it now, just because I can honestly say that I wasn't the person that I needed to be. And you gotta ask yourself, are you the person that you want to be, that you aspire to be, that you're proud of yourself in whatever relationship that you're in, male or female? And if you're not, then you really have to understand, hey, it starts with you. What people do to you, you can't control at all. But you can control who you are, how you grow as a person, and how you receive things. No, I don't like that. Yes, I like that. Hey, I need more of X, Y, and Z. tell them, communicate with them. And guess what? If they don't want to do it, if they don't like it, then that kind of gives you some answers right there. Like, either way, you're going to get answers. But if you say nothing, then that is not helping anybody. And we got a comment in here. Kayla goes, what if he never has put me as a convenience and always put me first, but then freaked out and let me go because of stress?
Oh, but then let me go because of wait, what if he never put me as a convenience and always put me first, but then freaked out and let me... I would definitely want a little bit more specifics with that. But, I mean, from a man, it's what if he never has put...
So basically, he was always putting her first. She always felt like the priority was always there. But he let her go because of stress. Well, because... from a female's perspective, to answer this, and then you can go ahead and take a stab at it, unless you need to get it out now. Okay, sometimes the thoughts run and you just gotta get it out. Honestly, from a female's perspective, if a man's so busy and wrapped up in the things he's doing, and he says he loves you, he says he wants to be with you, but I just can't do it because of stress. Like, if you're, and I know who this person is, Kayla. Like, I know who you are. It's not like you're going in and dumping a whole lot of like stress on this person. But if because of all his outlying circumstances, he doesn't have a hold on it, and he's so stressed because of X, Y, and Z, maybe some he can handle, maybe some he can control, some he cannot. At the end of the day, like, you know, if you're there showing up as that love, support, I'm here for you, I want to be with you, and you're not dumping in all this extra stress, because a lot of women come in here and they're just like, I need this from you, I need you to buy this, I need to take care of this, da-da-da. Like, the man is their maid. And women, like, your man is not your maid. Like, he is a human being and should be treated as a prized possession. So, Kayla, back to your question, if he lets you go because of stress, at the end of the day, if he's stressed about this, you got to think about, you know, if you want to go down the, you know, into the serious relationship sector and then into marriage, if he can't handle this and he's like, boom, I'm out. Like, what if he does that to you later on when things get even a lot more serious? You have to ask yourself that. Because Johnny can tell me he's stressed all he wants, and I say, I'm here for you, like, whatever you need. But guess who has to deal with it? Johnny. Johnny has to figure out how to take that stress and be able to make it manageable, because life can be stressful. Things happen. So at the end of the day, Kayla, you have to understand, like, yeah, that's you know, if he's going to let you go because of stress, that's painful. But you also have to know your worth, that you can't just be hanging around waiting for a man to unclutter his life to make room for you. Because, again, that's not priority status. So it may feel that way, but his actions will show different.
I actually want to say this, Kayla, is that I don't know what the commitment level of this relationship, I don't know the gravity of the situation, I don't even know the weight, like, I don't know what you guys have been through, or how long, because these are all things that play variables in a relationship, right? Is because how long you guys been together, what you guys faced, and then what you guys are, maturity level, what it is that you guys are developed in the emotional, mental, and spiritual realm. And so all I will say, though, is that if he's always made you feel good and always put you first, but then freaks out and then lets you go, that makes me question whether or not he was truly committed, because commitment is also enduring. You know, commitment doesn't like you don't commit to your job and then one day say you don't feel like coming into work and then they let you back next week. Like, no, you're let go, right? And so you have to understand what somebody's commitment level is really like. However, there's also another aspect that could be pardoned on you that says, what are you willing to put up with right now, and how are you willing to help him stick through that timing? Because there may be certain things as a man he does not know how to navigate. There are certain things that he doesn't know how to communicate. There are certain things that he just does not know how to do. And so with you being more or less his other half, I hate saying that, but like his companion, better yet, is that you have to understand, like you're supposed to be the supporter, and so how are you going to support? But then in that same sense, he as a man needs to understand how to navigate his stress, all the while navigating your relationship. Because again, you're not an option, you're a priority. And so, what does it say?
It says, because after this time, I have realized I have put pressure on him at the same time, and I'm acknowledging that now. And we have been together for a year. He says he doesn't think he's enough for me.
He says he doesn't think he is enough for me.
Does he think he isn't
wait.
enough for me? Yeah, he's not enough for her. So basically she was saying she was putting pressure on him, and she's acknowledging that now. And then, he was freaking out because of stress, so he let her go. And then he doesn't think that he's enough for her.
Wait, hold on. She says is enough.
Isn't.
So, no, she just corrected it. She says,
is.
and we've been together for a year. He says he doesn't think he is enough for me. Is enough. He doesn't
Think he's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny this happened. So he isn't enough. No, she got it right. Okay, so he isn't enough, right?
Meaning, like, he doesn't feel like he's enough for her.
Got it. Okay. So then, if that's the case, I was confusing a little bit, but if he doesn't feel like he's adequate, more or less, to, what was the question? So it says, because after time you realize you put pressure on him. That's at the same time, and I'm acknowledging that now, and we've been together for a year. He says he doesn't think he is enough for me. Now that's interesting because that actually doesn't really resonate with his capacity or his adequacy to do the things necessary as your lover, more or less. It actually questions his confidence to whether or not he's fully capable within his own being to do the things for you, which is interesting because now we're talking about an identity issue, which comes from confidence. And so if I'm not mistaken, if wanting to hang out, then making him feel bad.
Read this so everybody can understand you.
Wait, what is it? If wanting to hang out, but then hold on. I'm wanting to hang out, but then making him feel bad when he can't hang out. So these are all like okay things. Like you guys just have to at this point, because like me and Malls have kind of felt the same thing. Because me at one point, like I felt inadequate. I felt like I wasn't good enough for her. Like I felt so insecure as a man. But there are certain things that I had to navigate that she actually helped me navigate. The only thing that was the breakthrough was that I was vocal, which then meant I had to communicate my insecurities, which then meant I had to communicate what it is that I was going through. But before that, guess what? A foundation of safety was laid there. So I can come into this safe zone. She can come into this safe zone. And in that safety, we could actually communicate with no judgment whatsoever about what it is that we're feeling, what it is that we're going through. So then that way she understands what I'm battling. I understand what she's battling. So then that way there's no confusion. There's no miscommunication. I heard from one psychologist. His name is Harville Hendricks. Feel free to check him out. He did a lot on relationships. He says that the one thing that divided all relationships, the one thing wasn't finances, wasn't cheating, wasn't all these dumb things. It was miscommunication. Everything that crumbles a relationship down to the pits all stems down to miscommunication. And so, what does it say? And so
I'll read it because every time you read it, you go like a million miles an hour. And that's the thing. He didn't communicate with me, and now that's why we're here. So that's where it's 100% balls in his court. And if he doesn't want to communicate with you now, like what makes him want to open up and communicate later? And if you just communicate with him, hence the word communicate can be brought up a lot, that you're like, hey, I just need you to communicate with me. I need you to talk to me. Let me know how you're feeling. And if he does not do that, there's your answer. Because unfortunately, like, this is a relationship. It takes two. It's not just a one-sided thing. Like, both people need to communicate how they're feeling, where they're at, because too many people just suppress and harbor things in, and then it's just, it's, again, watering that dead plant that was never alive to begin with. Because people don't want to sit there and be nurtured and be watered and felt like they're being needy, but people do need that sunlight, that soil, that water, the nutrients, the love. Yeah, you definitely need it. But that's okay. He's told me that he needs it. He's told me how. So one thing to kind of wrap this up a little bit, because we don't want to make this too lengthy, is, and it may be cliche, you guys, but at the end of the day, it speaks volumes, is going through the book, The 5 Love Languages. Going through the book, there's little quizzes online, figure out what their love language is, and then speak to them in that way. Like Johnny, for example. Like Johnny's words of affirmation and like physical touch. Like, massaging, kissing, like just he likes being touched because as like a child, his grandma, his mom like kissed, loved,
I was very loved.
held him,
So I want more of it.
For me, mine's quality time and words of affirmation. So I've had to work on, just embracing him more. And we've had a lot of, ups and downs about that because I'm not used to that. But that's how he feels loved. So I need to be able to communicate that with him the best way I know how. So Kayla, for you, for anybody watching this, if you're like, gosh, I just don't understand, go back to the book, The 5 Love Languages, and in any relationship, figure out what your partner's, language is, because communication is absolutely key. Those are for you too, Kayla. I love it. Well, at the end of the day, like, you got to figure out because maybe those are your languages, but they're not his languages, because Johnny's and I are just a little different. But at the end of the day, like, he does really well in giving me what it is that I need, so I feel loved. Because we all deal with things and bring on things differently. Go ahead.
She said, "You can go on as long as you want. We will be here."
Jessica, you're hilarious, girl.
That's funny. I see you, girl. So I'm just really trying to, that's very interesting.
I'll let them know what you're in.
Kind of, almost. Not yet. So one thing that I'm gonna do though is, oh, Kayla, she's so nice. There's another Kayla P.
No,
I'm a Kayla P. So, hearts out to you too, girl. We see you. So one thing to me as a man that's critical is that if I do not communicate, I then fail to let the love of my life know how important it is that she is to me. And if I fail to communicate what it is that I'm going through on a personal level, then how is she supposed to know that? So then if I'm stressed and I'm harboring all that stress, putting it way the hell down, and she doesn't know what I'm going through, then guess what? That's called projecting. Then at one point I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna feel a particular way, then I'm gonna project all that stuff on her. Right, I caught it. So I'm gonna project all that stuff on her, as opposed to, it's gonna come out as word vomit. And there's a lot of people out there in relationships that are just coming out of word vomit. They just suppress. And then all of a sudden it's just like, well, you didn't watch the dishes the other day. Like, you didn't tell me you love me. Like, you didn't do this. And then it's just like all this like crap just comes out, and it did not have to be. And then feelings get hurt. And then like people say the truth comes out when anger's around, but it's just like that's not true. That's not true. Feelings are not accurate. What's it say? That's exactly how I think he has felt and did, and that's why I came out of nowhere. That's why I came. And see, that makes sense. And so all I'm going to say is that again, like, what has to happen in this, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I got mad respect for you as an individual person, but I'm going to say this, is that one thing that's helped us too, and we've been together for 4 months, but the things that we've had to, that's like exactly how Mike and I are. This is how. Well, praise God, I love it.
I'm gonna do a little lesson here while we're doing a live. Don't read every comment until you get your thought out, because you'll get stuck on those every time. So we'll go back to it. But we love y'all.
Caleb
we
P.
love y'all.
I
just know he's trying to get to a point. He's getting distracted. So I'm like, babe, I love you. So like, just.
You're right, because now I did forget what I was gonna say.
See?
No. Because our relationship, right? Because we've been together for only 4 months.
We were friends like way long before
yes,
that.
We were.
So like, people say 4 months, like what? But like, we were like really good friends like before that. So just give it some context.
I will say this though, is that even though we've been together for only a very short amount of time, the things that we've communicated, the things that we've talked about and gone through are like things that people don't go through until like maybe like a year or two after marriage.
God put the gas on it, ASAP.
Yeah, God done pressed the pedal on this thing, because I didn't realize, like, we were both single for a very long time before jumping into very serious relationships. I was single for damn near 3 years. That's a long time, not even touched a woman. Which then means I was working on the development of my mind and my soul. So then that way I found out at the end of the day what I needed. Some people are very scared to tell what the other person needs. Like, I'm not afraid to tell her, I'm like, listen, I need to be touched more. I was very loved as a kid. I need to be touched. I love being like, I like this, the hand holding, like I love this, I like it. That's me. I'm Latin. That's a passion.
I'm learning that.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But one of the things is that if I don't communicate that to her, And I'm just like sitting here to myself, and she touched me, and I'm just like, you know, what do you think that's gonna do? She's gonna feel inadequate. I'm gonna feel pissed off. Nothing's getting accomplished. And then where are you guys at now? Do you got what?
God.
What were you gonna say?
So this like came to me, and I really want to just make this point out, and then we'll wrap this up. Because I got another training to get on. Sorry, y'all. Otherwise, we could keep going.
Really good.
We've brought this up to other people, being like, yeah, we've gone through so much. We've learned so much in 4 months. Well, why? Like, why have you guys gone through so much? And why are you,
That's
this
true.
and that? I will tell you why. Because we're so vocal and we communicate so much that there's about to be some discrepancies or differences in opinion or emotion or how you take on other people's stuff. Their stress, their hurt, their pain, their blah, 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 blah. How you choose to accept that and help the other person. Maybe be there as a listening ear or even giving them some feedback. Because sometimes I'm like, do you want me to just listen or do you actually want some feedback? But that's why we've gone through so much, is because we talk about way more than most people that we know in relationships. Like, we're very, very open and vocal. So we've gone through it because we choose to grow through it. Because I say this so many times, like, people around here be the Walking Dead. Like, y'all a bunch of zombies. Like, you're physically walking, but on the inside you're dead. Like, you're not communicating. You're sad, you're upset, you're depressed, you're this, you're that. When you can change that state based upon your environment and how you choose to grow as a person. And it hasn't always been easy. There's certain times where I'm like, man, I am so mentally and like spiritually exhausted right now that my gym game straight up has suffered. I mean, I never thought I would say that even out loud, but it has, because I just am so exhausted mentally that my brain needs a break. And I don't have enough stamina physically to go into the gym. And that's just the season of life I'm in. But I know there's so much growing here. And it's going to be impacting so many people as it already has. So that's just something where, like, if you're like, oh, that's too much, why are you going through all that? That's too hard. Well, guess what? You're bringing two different people, and in our case, two whole people that were fine on their own coming together. Whole people. Don't look for somebody to come and fix you. Don't look for somebody to come and be
talking about that other
your
half.
other half. You're having one whole, and now you become two. Not one. You become two people to be able to develop whatever it is that God has planned for you. So I just wanted to add that in there, because we've gotten that a lot. And there's like, oh, they just go through a lot because it's that. Yeah, because we choose to. Because we choose to grow through things and not just suppress it because I don't want to have an argument, or I don't want to have like a, like he doesn't agree. Well, guess what? He's his own human. I'll read it. You figure out your point.
Okay. Because she said something is that we choose to. I don't like arguing with the love of my life here. I don't. I do not like. There are certain people out there that love to fight. I never understood that concept. What I do like is getting solutions. And so if there's something that I feel like tension wise, and that's up to my own like kind of intuition, like if I'm feeling like a little iffy, I first ask her, baby, are you thinking of it? Like what are you thinking of? What are you processing? She'll tell me, and then if it's revolved around me and something that I'm not meeting up to her needs, then she communicates that to me.
And it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard.
But that's a choice. So then before you guys come to that, before you guys even come together, like talk about critical things, you guys first have to come together in a safe zone and ask each other, how committed are we to this relationship? And then just lay it out on the table. Like, do you really like me? And like and it's either a yes or no. The next thing is, do you really love me, and are you really committed to me? It's a yes or no. Very binary, black or white, yes or no. There's no gray shit. All right? And so from there, it's then saying, okay, now that I feel safe with you, do you mind if I tell you a couple things with no judgment, and let's see if we can work together on some things? Is that something that you're open to? And if he feels safe and knows that you have his best interest at mind, then you guys could then make the decision together, consent, because some of you guys assume that somebody has your best intention in mind. That's not always the case, unfortunately. And also on top of which, a lot of you guys make assumptions that you guys want to hash out the hard things together, when maybe somebody's not as committed, you're more committed, so now you guys are trying to work on intense things together. And so all I'm going to say is that you guys have to first consent to really working shit out together, and then talking about the critical things. So like, again, I told Molly, I feel like I need to be touched more. I feel like you need to, she actually does a great job in communicating to me and words of affirmation, the love language, she does a great job with that. I just feel like I need to be a little bit more caressed, more held, more touched. And of course, like, that wasn't her like forte. That wasn't her thing. She's never been in a relationship that's done that before. But then when I communicated it, instead of harboring and pushing it down, she's like, oh my God, I had no idea. I've never had a man approach me with these needs before. Thank God I did that. Otherwise, she would have felt inadequate, or she would have just felt mad in some sense, because now she's like, I'm doing these things that make her feel like I'm shoving her away. So again, if there's something that needs to be communicated, then I'd say I heavily encourage you to hash it out, because the moment you nick something in the butt right then and there and deal with the hard, awkward conversations and things that might let out some real emotions, at least you guys are getting to the truth of it, instead of just letting it harbor and rust in your heart until your heart corrodes, and then it's no longer, like, no passion's there, no communication, no love, no nothing. It's just crap. And so feel free to go through the hard times right now and the hard conversations now, so then that way you guys are understanding where each other is coming from. Then you guys get to deal with the harder things, so then that way you guys could actually make progress. Some of you guys are actually, time is passing by, but you guys are actually regressing. And that's kind of a very ironic situation to be in. So again, heavily implore you guys, communicate. I don't care what your love language is. I don't care what culture you're from. I don't care what even your personal preferences are. Communication is key. Communication. So,
well, I want to touch on some of these comments, and then we got to bounce. Only reason we got to bounce is because I have another training I have to put on for my team, so it's a hard 7 here. But I really want to talk about what Jessica had. Is she said, I'm not understanding it that my husband is needing to go out and hang out with friends because I don't need that much time away from him, but I'm trying to be okay with it because he has said that's what he needs. He needs that time away. She also says, my husband chooses flight when it comes to a fight or fight, and he'd rather leave than argue, which I guess is good. Here's what I have to say about that, because I really want to touch on these comments right here, and then we'll, again, have to wrap it up. But for Jessica, like, it's healthy to have space. It's healthy to, like, you go hang out with your friends, he hangs out with his, wait, hold on. I gotta, like, keep it on there. And he hangs out with his, because some people just need that. They need that brain break. And it has nothing to do with you. It's all about them just wanting to just have some other connection in other areas. I think it's very unhealthy if you're not hanging out with other people, other friends, family, and you get so sucked in, like, I gotta hang out with you every second of every day. And then if you don't hang out with me, what's wrong with me? What happened? Why are you mad? I used to be that person. That's like a whole nother topic entirely.
That's called being an idol. It's called being an idol.
That's not good. So just give him that space and just understand, and obviously have that trust there too, because if you're uneasy about him going out, is there a trust issue there? I doubt it. I hope not. If so, that's a whole other thing to tap into, because a lot of people don't want their significant other going out, or people that want to just be with them solely because they're like, well, what if they find something else? What if they, this and that, whatever. Trust them. Let them go have fun. Let them go do their thing. It's going to be okay. And if you need him to, like, check in every once in a while, then he's be able to respect you just like you're respecting his space. And then Lauren said, Molly, I really relate to this right now. I'm sitting in the gym parking lot debating on working more or working out. It's a strong inner battle, internal battle. I love your season of life reference. Here's the thing. When it comes to working, I guess, is it like physical, like work, or is it like, emotional, like spiritual work? Because that's what I was referring to. Spiritually and emotionally, I've been growing so much in the last, like, 4 to 5 months. It's just been silly. So I've given myself some grace of being like, hey, you know what? I'm growing a lot in other areas. If I can't make it to the gym, maybe instead of 6 days a week, I'm like 3 or 4. That kills me. But I also know that, okay, then my diet needs to change too, this and that. But you'll also get a lot of endorphins out of working out. So if it's you just working on, like, job stuff, go take that break, go to the gym. Internally, spiritually, emotionally, that's different. I can't answer that for you. But if it's, like, physical, like work and stuff, you need that break. Like, for real. And then I think Kayla has, read it out loud. Like, or read it.
Okay, so Kayla says, I love what you are saying. We are talking Saturday, and this is everything we are going to go over. And I'm hoping this will help, even though it's been a whole year in the relationship. So again, I think there's a misconstrue. We got to bounce in like a couple minutes, but I think that there's a lot of people misconstrue health with time. Those are not equivalent in any sense of the word. You could be in a relationship for 10 years. One of my biggest pet peeves when I was younger, because I've had these views on relationships since I was like 10, right? And like I just always had this mind. But one of the things that really pissed me off is when I would like talk to older people about relationships and like these older couples that are like maybe 30, 40, and they're like, oh kid, like we've been married for 10 years. We know what we're talking about. And I'm just like, fam, like your marriage is terrible. Like you guys can't seem to agree on anything. And on top of which, like you guys are probably like low key doing some shady shit on the side, shady stuff on the side. So it's just like, don't equate health with time, because in no way, shape, or form does a long-lasting relationship or a longer relationship equals healthy, because a lot of people just stay with each other just because it's convenient, and sometimes like they just ride it out. All I'm gonna say is that if you guys are talking, and Caleb, this goes out to you, is that if you guys are planning on talking, make notes. It's not a bad thing at all whatsoever. Take personal notes to everything that you want to go over with him, and really lay down that safe space, that foundation that says we need to talk about certain things. Don't tell him we need to talk. Don't give him the we need to talk thing. Men fear that. Don't do that. And lay a safe, casual, like, hey babe, let's go out for a minute. He'll be okay with that. And then slowly progress into the things, the emotional, mental things. Sometimes men get scared when they have to brace for something mental or emotional, because we're heavily physical. We're like our stomach turns when we hear stuff like that. Lay it down easy, and be precise with the things that you need to talk about. Precision is key. Otherwise, if you make things vague, you're not actually getting to a solution. You're just kind of making like Band-Aid solutions where you just slap over. You don't want to do that. So, love you so much. Love knows no time period. Jess, that's what I'm talking about. Love does not know. Love knows no time. I knew I wanted to marry this girl the first month I rocked with her. Like, I just said it. I was like, I want to make a wife out of you.
There it is, y'all. There it is. You said it to my parents first on FaceTime, and now you.
I wanted to make a wife out of her, you know?
I love you. You can, like, literally go on forever.
I really can.
But no lie, I really got to jump off and do this call with my team. So, we appreciate you guys so much. This has been so powerful for us, and obviously the people that have come on here asking for the tips and advice and just where they're at. If you guys have found value in this, share this message. Put it in your story. Tag somebody in it. This is the stuff people need to hear. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say. And so I know I can go on this forever. So, you know, again, for whatever it's worth, if you guys feel like talking this out and hashing it out, feel free to DM Molly. Feel free to DM me.
Yeah.
Like, that's an open invitation. Like, I have no problem talking about this to anyone at any given moment. But, you know, again, my door is always open. So feel free. I got an empty space, a safe space. And so, yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching this on the recording, you know, put hashtag replay in the comments. But type in, you know, what you're getting from this. So you're welcome, Kayla, Jessica. I know you guys are big contributors to this. Sean as well. So have an amazing night, you guys, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye.
Love you guys.